The 1989 film Field of Dreams is certainly such a cinematic experience. I've seen this one twice now, and I have to say this is probably one of the better baseball movies that is out there. Really, this one isn't just about baseball. It's honestly about the themes of lost dreams, regrets, and sentimentality for the past, something that we all have gone through. So the story of this one is that a farmer named Ray, he feels like he hasn't done much with his life. But he starts hearing a voice saying, if you build it, he will come. So he builds a baseball field, and some ghosts from baseball past show up to play the game. I had heard about this film many years ago, and the only reason I never checked this out was because I wasn't into sports movies back then. But having seen this twice now, I have to say this one is quite entertaining to say the least. One of the things I really enjoy about this one is that the character Ray, he's both relatable and likable. He wants to do more with his life. He's in his mid-30s, he has a wife and a daughter, and he feels like he hasn't accomplished much. So the story in this one actually does a great job of telling a compelling narrative from beginning to end. Not once did I feel bored with this. The characters are memorable, the music is nicely done by the late James Horner, and overall I believe this is also one of the best baseball movies of the late 1980s. As good as this film is, the acting is where it really shines at just because of how great everybody is. Kevin Costner, his portrayal as Ray, definitely it is relatable to a lot of people out there. He's in his mid-30s, he feels like he hasn't done much with his life, he feels like he hasn't pursued his dreams. So when he hears those voices, then he takes it upon himself to do something about it. He builds that baseball field, he goes on a journey to meet Terrence, who was a former baseball player. By the way, James Earl Jones does a great job. Even the point in the film where there is a monologue where he talks about people will show up if he builds the field. It's quite the journey just because, me personally, I'm not a fan of baseball. I never have been. I always thought it was a sport I was never interested in. And this was during a time where baseball movies were coming back in the late 80s and all throughout the 90s. Some examples being Major League, of course, the classic, The Sandlot, and among others. Literally, you don't even have to be a fan to like this movie. Another actor that really did stand out was the late Ray Liotta. He doesn't have a huge role here, but he is playing one of the baseball legends. Another actor who has stood out here was the late Burt Lancaster. I'm not familiar with his work, but considering this was the last film he did, he is a well-known actor that's been around since the 1940s. But I did like how he's playing a doctor who used to be a baseball player. And definitely it leads to some very interesting moments. This is a movie that I pretty much says it's great. Only because it's more than a baseball field, like I had mentioned beforehand. It's about following your dreams, not giving up on them, and also being a little nostalgic from the past. And I'm glad this one never got a sequel because it will ruin the story in this. And speaking of which, this is a spoiler warning, but near the end of the film, I actually got tears in my eyes because it was a happy moment. Ray playing with his father, something he never did, it definitely brought that moment of happiness. And the thing is that this film definitely has a lot of heartfelt moments, but that right there is probably the best moment because it is so great for the movie to end on that note. At the end of the day, definitely a film that I enjoy. I will continue to watch this going forward. Is it one of my favorite movies in the late 1980s? No, because I'm not a baseball fan, but it definitely has a great message about following your dreams and not giving up on them either. I'm giving this film a 8 out of 10. One minor complaint I have about this one is that, near the end of it, Terrence actually follows the baseball players into the cornfield and he too disappears. When I first saw that, I was saying, what? How is he able to do that? How does he come back? I know it's a minor issue, but it kind of annoys me a little bit because he's not a ghost. Anyway, though, this movie is funny, it's entertaining, it has a lot of great moments within it that you really appreciate, especially if you're a baseball fan. And that's my review of Field of Dreams. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.